Dini Game Reserve is within the Creek du Canyons Biosphere Reserve, which is a very important area from a biodiversity point of view. It's got a huge concentration of predators comparative to other reserves, which not only makes it very important from a research point of view in that we are learning more about interactions between the predators and how high concentration predators should be managed, but from an expedition member point of view, it allows us to have the most amazing visuals while collecting this data, so you're going to have an amazing experience as well as contributing to the bigger picture of research. We get quite a range of different backgrounds of people coming onto the expedition, so it's important for us to give everyone an orientation to the area. During the training week, we do spend quite a lot of time learning about the smaller things, the birds, the trees, learning how to see the signs for various animals in the bush, and explain in detail how the telemetry and the equipment is used for the research.
Do the same process.
We'll have theoretical lectures. We'll talk about general ecology, conservation, reserve management, which pertains quite strongly to what we're doing with the research. We also cover first aid, learn how to use the radios, and we go into quite a lot of depth about data input and where the data goes.
Which animals were actually at that sighting?
I would love to get into conservation work, and that's kind of what drew me to this one, is that they do a lot of conservation and they do a lot of research.
You may think it's a bit daunting, but you learn, you pick everything up really quickly. They teach you really well.
The expedition is all about management of predators on a small reserve, and we're collecting data on a daily basis about their feeding, their movements, their interactions with other predators, and how we can manage predators on small reserves, which could well be the future of our conservation areas.
Research teams spend over 8 hours every day using radio telemetry to track down and observe the key focus animals.
This is more than just a safari. We are privileged and able to follow the intimate lives of these animals. They become individuals to you, and you become part of their life. You want to know what happens to them the next day. If the day before they were hungry, they hadn't eaten for 2 days, you wake up that next morning, you want to get out there to see if they managed to make that kill. If perhaps the wild dogs have had an interaction with the lions, have they been hurt? You need to know that. You become part of their lives, you become part of the bigger picture and part of their family as such.
Just to be able to watch them as they are naturally, it's just an incredible experience to be able to do that. It's a real privilege.
But we were sitting just 2 feet away from the wild dogs on a kill, and that was one of the highlights of my stay here so far.
Dogs have probably left the greatest impression on me. They're such a team, you know, they work together, loyalty towards each other.
What's really neat about this place, it's one of the few places in the world that you can actually walk up to a cheetah.
Walking in on a cheetah is an amazing thing. To walk right up to them and they just sit there for you.
The way the cheetah hunts, the stalks the prey is fantastic.
I've seen elephants sort of playing with the car and sort of snorting at you, which is kind of fun.
I've seen the lions on a kill very close up, like within 2 or 3 metres away, so that was great.
When you get a chance to see the leopard as well, I mean, that's pretty special because they're so elusive.
I saw Yanina, the female leopard, last night, and that was one of the best visuals we've had so far.
Was something I don't think I'll ever forget. I thought I was going to cry. It was amazing, it really was. I've had a few of those moments though here.
There's hippo as well, and then you've got your smaller herbivores, your impala, kudu, bushbuck, duiker.
Monkeys everywhere.
Wildebeest.
Crocodiles.
Bush babies.
I think I'm missing big ones. Giraffe.
Porcupine and honey badgers that are very rarely seen, but we get to see them.
The birds are fantastic. The insect life is fantastic.
Big baboon spiders, which are quite interesting.
So it's all very rich and varied.
It could go on forever and ever, that list.
The cream of Africa's animals, I think.
At OnDrive, they will record everything that happens. What is the animal doing? Is he lying down? Is he grooming? Is the elephant pushing down a tree? Which tree is it? When they come back from the drive, they sit down and they actually input it into the computer for us. Here it says they were chasing impala. Also, we record a comment like this kill, the wild dog stole from a leopard. So we actually follow what happens there. We record a GPS position so that we can use that to plot maps. If you look at this map over here, the red dots are all the lions, the green dots is the movement of the dogs, and you can see that there's a distinct gap between them. It's almost like a synchronized ballet that happens. As soon as the lions go north, the dogs come south, and vice versa.
It's very easy to pick up, and I don't think you have to be scientifically oriented in order to do it.
Why can we only have so many elephants in the reserve? Why do we have to remove a cheetah because we've got too many and stuff like that? The balance between how many prey and how many predators there are is really interesting, and the interaction between them.
Everything is set up in as easy as possible format for them, so you don't have to have extensive computer knowledge at all, and everybody has a role to play in actually making this report and compiling these maps.
Let's go look for Manandi.
She's on -1/2 at 12 o'clock.
There's two different aspects to the research and where the data's going. We collect the data mainly for the Karongwe Ecological Research Institute, who's directly linked to the landowners of the reserve. And these are the people who manage the animals on a sort of day-to-day basis. It's a practical application of the research for the people who actually work with the animals. So the day-to-day management is linked directly to the research and the data we're collecting, which is a very important aspect of the research. The other side is we link to more academic institutions, for example, the University in Natal, where data is collected for more specific studies, for example, leopard mating, wild dogs in small reserve, and developing more scientific reports for the sort of academic world. And also other reserves in similar situations can learn from the research we're collecting.
Just thinking that part of that study would have something to do with me, I think is great.
But it's not all hard work at Adini. There's plenty of time to relax.
No, do quite a lot of sunbathing, just relaxing by the pool.
A fab bunch of people from all different walks of life, different ages.
We have camp duty every 5 days, where we have to just cook for everybody. You usually work in twos. You also have to clean the house, but it doesn't take long at all because it's cleaned on a daily basis.
Social life's been great around here. Just once a week you can have a party.
Everybody has a few drinks, stays up a little bit later, and that's when people really get to know each other, I think, when everybody's really relaxed. It's fantastic. I've made some really, really good friends and people that you know that you'll keep in contact with.
And if all this relaxation doesn't clear your head, there's always the cool mountain air, where an important phase of the expedition takes place.
Yeah, for Maribskop we live in a lovely little cottage, and we spend the evenings playing cards and so on. We go swimming down in the Blider Canyon in the Blider River itself, which is great. We spend sundowners up on the summit. Maribskop is a very rare habitat here in South Africa. The Blider River Canyon is the world's third largest canyon. It's also the world's only green canyon, so Maribskop is already a World Heritage Site. One of the most exciting things about the work up at Maribskop is the finding of species which may well be unknown to science, so new species, which is great for our projects. Whereas in the past with national parks, people have been moved out of the area when the site has been proclaimed a park. This time people aren't being moved, and the local people have a say in how they want the park run.
The botanical name of this one is Afrocarpus falcatus, meaning...
GVI collaborate wherever possible with the local communities. And as their expedition nears its end, members share their knowledge and enthusiasm for conservation with local school children.
The future of our conservation areas could well be small game reserves. We need to know now how to manage it so we can do it properly and we can conserve these species and these animals well into the future.
Really the most important thing to me is that the money that I'm spending to be here is going back in to conservation, and it's doing good in this community, it's doing good for the animals, it's a win-win situation, and really the future of these animals depends on places like this.
This research would not happen without the expedition members. Both their financial and their practical input is imperative. We wouldn't be able to run it if they weren't here.
The most amazing experience of my life so far.
It's a larger-than-life experience, I think. It's everything's more intense.
And doing it as a research volunteer, you get so much more out of it than just doing it purely as a safari.
I've really enjoyed it whilst I've been here and realised that it is something I want to go into.
Going to be with you the rest of your life, so just go and do it.
It's absolutely amazing, really amazing.
It opens up a whole new world of wildlife to most people, and we probably spoilt them forever ever going on safari, because it's never going to be quite the same. Because this is a big privilege to spend that sort of time and hours with these animals.